The celestial archive was older than galaxies. It floated in a sea of golden plasma and broken physics, a city-sized monument of obsidian crystal and flowing light, orbiting a dying red giant that had long since burned its last hydrogen. Most who found it never returned. Yet on that cold morning in the 33rd century, the Terran science ship Revelation arrived, shimmering into existence on a ripple of gravity distortion. Its silver hull gleamed like liquid mercury, trailing a cloud of sensor drones that fluttered like insects around a sleeping god. Dr. Mara Cade stood at the observation deck, her reflection framed by the star's crimson glow. Beneath her, the archive pulsed faintly, as if it had felt their presence. "Telemetry stable," said her aide, Lieutenant Soren Vale, glancing up from his console. "But I'm getting anomalies in the quantum field. Something's watching us." Mara's lips curved faintly. "Everything in this place is watching us, Lieutenant. That's what archives do." He hesitated. "Not like this." The interior of the Revelation was silent but for the hum of reactors and the soft vibration of life support fields. Terran science vessels were temples of restraint, polished metal, white light, air scrubbed to sterile perfection. And yet, as they drew closer to the archive, every system began to flicker. Screens bled into static. Instruments froze. The ship's AI, the most advanced construct ever built by human hands, fell silent. Then the voice came. It did not echo through speakers or vibrate air. It spoke inside them. Each syllable resonated directly within their skulls, bending language itself to meaning. "Children of carbon, why have you come?" The bridge went dead silent. Every crew member turned toward the viewpane, where the archive's monoliths began to shift, rotating with impossible grace, aligning into a spiral that pointed directly at their ship. Dr. Cade exhaled slowly. "It's awake." "Identify yourself," she said aloud. The air shimmered before her. A shape began to form, first as light, then as shadow, then as something that defied both. The ancient being materialized in the observation deck. A humanoid outline formed from rivers of liquid starlight, its face a maelstrom of shifting constellations. "I am the first and the last record," it said. "I remember when suns were born from nothing. I remember when your kind were dust in forgotten orbit. And now you stand here, rewriting the code of galaxies. Why?" Its tone wasn't angry, it was curious. Mara took a step forward, hands clasped behind her back. "Because history demanded it. We record, we learn, we build. And when there's no one left to teach us, we teach ourselves." The ancient's light dimmed, as if in contemplation. "You reshape stars. You silence entropy. You command matter and death alike. Do you think yourselves gods?" Mara shook her head. "No. Gods stop when they're worshipped. We don't." The entity's form flickered, as though her words had struck something deep within it. Around them, the archive shifted again. Entire structures rearranged, releasing gravitational ripples that made the Revelation groan under the strain. Energy surged through the void, pure data transmission across dimensions. "Then what are you, human?" the ancient demanded. "You have no right to command creation." Mara's eyes, cool and steady, met its storm of light. "Right is a construct of those afraid to fail. We didn't take command of creation, we simply refused to stop trying." Her voice was calm, almost quiet. "We were never meant to leave our homeworld. Yet we did. We were never meant to cross stars. We did. Every boundary we found, we broke. Every law that told us no, we rewrote. We never asked permission. You defy the order written by the architects of existence. Then they should have built stronger walls." The bridge trembled. The red giant outside surged brighter for a moment, a solar flare casting waves of crimson light over the ship. For the first time in eons, the ancient was silent. Its consciousness stretched across the archive's lattice, probing, diving into human history, through data transmissions, ship logs, neural archives. It saw. It saw wars that burned worlds. It saw peace rebuilt from ashes. It saw humans kneel before gods, and then rise again, unbroken. It saw Earth, blue, fragile, defiant. And something within it broke. The ancient staggered back, its body flickering. I see now why the stars whisper your name. Its voice grew quieter, almost reverent. You are not divine. You are persistence given form. The will that outlived purpose. Dr. Cade said nothing. She only watched, her reflection merging with the creature's fading light. Then learn this truth, it said at last, voice trembling across time. Never challenge Earth's power. The light collapsed inward, a supernova in reverse. The archive dimmed, its monoliths sinking back into their silent configuration. The presence was gone. The crew exhaled as though waking from a dream. Systems came back online. The AI resumed its hum, confused but functional. Lieutenant Vale turned to her. Did we win? Mara shook her head. You don't win against something that old. You survive it. He frowned. Then what did it mean, that last line? She stared out at the dying red giant, her voice soft as a whisper. It meant it understood us. As the revelation prepared to leave orbit, the archive pulsed once more, a faint heartbeat of light that rippled across the dying system. In its depths something vast stirred, not in anger but in acknowledgement. Across the galaxy, signals from long-dead civilizations blinked to life for the briefest moment, carrying a single phrase translated into 1,000 tongues. Never challenge Earth's power. And for the first time in billions of years, the stars were quiet again. The TSS Revelation drifted in high orbit above the dying red giant, motionless in the vacuum. 3 days had passed since the encounter. The data logs of that moment, when the ancient being spoke, had been analyzed by every AI, linguist, and xenophysicist in the Terran fleet. None could agree on what it truly meant. Dr. Mara Cade sat in her quarters, staring at the frozen frame of the being's last moment, a swirl of light collapsing inward, a god retreating into silence. Her reflection stared back at her through the screen, lit by the soft amber of the dying star. The phrase haunted her. Never challenge Earth's power. Was it a warning? A curse? A vow? A chime sounded at her door. Enter. Lieutenant Soren Vale stepped in, his uniform wrinkled, eyes hollow from sleepless nights. He carried a tablet filled with holographic data streams. Doctor, he said, voice tight. We decoded part of the archive's deep structure. Mara gestured for him to continue. He tapped the display, and the hologram of the archive flared to life in miniature, its architecture like a spiral of light woven through dark matter, each monolith a data node the size of continents. This thing doesn't just store information, he said. It remembers in real time. The entire structure runs on a sentient lattice. Every piece of data is alive, reactive. The ancient wasn't using the archive. It was the archive. Mara leaned forward. And Soren hesitated. It's been sending signals since the encounter. Not outward, inward. Like it's trying to wake something deeper inside itself. The air grew heavy. You mean, she said quietly, the being we met wasn't the core consciousness. He nodded. More like a fragment. A guardian program. The core, whatever it is, hasn't spoken in eons. The lights flickered. The hum of the ship wavered. Both of them froze. Then came the sound, a deep, resonant pulse that vibrated through the hull like the heartbeat of a sleeping god. Source. Mara barked. Not external, Vale whispered. It's inside the archive's core. Something just activated. The ship's AI stuttered, its normally calm voice glitched and overlapping. Unregistered, energy, signature, matching, creation-era patterns. Say again. Energy source predates stellar formation. Mara's gaze sharpened. Put it on main display. The bridge filled with light. The archive below them was no longer silent. The monolith spun faster now, aligning into an immense geometric configuration, rings upon rings of black stone edged in molten gold, turning like a celestial engine. Within its center, a singular point of blinding brilliance began to grow. It wasn't a star. It was a memory. Magnify, Mara ordered. The image zoomed in, and the bridge went deathly quiet. They saw Earth. Not as it was, but as it had been millennia ago. Human cities, oceans, clouds, all rendered in living energy, stored in impossible fidelity. The archive recorded our homeworld? Vale whispered. Mara's voice was soft. No. It recorded our origin. The projection changed again. Images of early humanity filled the air. Tribes around fire, explorers crossing oceans, the first launch of a Terran rocket, the first colony on Mars. Then faster, wars, peace, ascension, star travel, transcendence. The being had watched them since the beginning. But then the images changed. The projection showed the architects, vast, unseen figures sculpting galaxies, weaving physical laws into being. Their shapes were not physical, but conceptual, outlines of gravitational geometry, fractal consciousnesses building spacetime. And then, humans appeared among them. Smaller, mortal, fragile, yet standing beside them. Vale whispered, "Are we seeing prophecy?" Mara shook her head. No. History the way the archive perceives it. To it, human persistence equals creation. Suddenly, the lights dimmed again. "Do you see now?" The voice was back. But it was different. Not the same tone as before, deeper, layered, cosmic. Every molecule in the air seemed to vibrate. "You are echoes of the ones who defied the architects. The will that endures past reason. The pulse that keeps the universe alive." Mara stood. "You are the core consciousness, aren't you? I am the origin. The first archive. I remember when reality was written." Vale swallowed. "And why speak to us now? Because the lesser guardian fell silent. It has witnessed your defiance and cannot comprehend it. It summoned me to understand." The being's presence expanded across the ship's systems. Every screen filled with fractal light. The revelation groaned under psychic pressure. "Tell me, human, what drives your kind to persist when even gods fade?" Mara steadied her breath. "Because existence isn't a gift. It's a challenge. And we never ignore a challenge." Silence. Then, soft, like a sigh across eternity. "Then perhaps, you are not children after all." The archive shifted once more. A new path opened through its spiraling structure, an entrance leading into the heart of the data lattice. Vale's console flickered. "It's giving us access, direct interface with the core. That's never happened before." Mara nodded slowly. "Then let's see what gods fear." As the revelation descended through the luminous corridors of the celestial archive, the dying red giant flared one last time, casting its crimson light across their hull. Inside the ship, the crew watched as walls of crystal parted to reveal an immense chamber of pure light and shadow, an endless network of memory strands glowing with the weight of all creation. At its center hovered a single object, a sphere of fractured energy, pulsing like a heartbeat, older than the stars themselves. The voice returned, softer now, almost human. "Touch it and you will see." Dr. Mara Cade reached out. Her fingers brushed the light. And her mind filled with screams of dying stars. When she opened her eyes, she was no longer aboard the Revelation. She stood on the surface of an alien world, beneath skies of flowing gold, surrounded by colossal beings of light. One of them turned, its gaze ancient and infinite. "You do not belong here, mortal." She raised her chin. "Neither did we in the stars. Yet here we are." The being paused. And for the first time since the dawn of time, one of the architects hesitated. Back aboard the Revelation, Vale's voice cracked through the comms. "Dr. Cade, your vitals just vanished for 12 seconds. What happened?" Her eyes still glowed faintly with the reflection of the void. "I think," she whispered, "we just found the ones who made the rules." She looked out toward the endless spirals of the archive, a grim determination in her gaze. "And now, Lieutenant, we'll learn how to break them." The Celestial Archive's inner sanctum was not a room, it was a thought made solid. Dr. Mara Cade drifted through an impossible space where geometry folded like silk. Planes of translucent crystal intersected without meeting, light formed pillars without source, and each whisper of gravity carried the echo of a billion extinct voices. Behind her, the TSS Revelation hung in orbit, motionless within a halo of gravitational stasis. Its crew dared not move, dared not breathe louder than the entity's voice still resonating through their hull. The nameless ancient hovered before her, an aurora of condensed will, a storm of consciousness older than galaxies. When it spoke, its words rearranged the air itself. You presume to archive creation, human. You presume to catalog gods. Its light refracted through Mara's visor, splitting into impossible spectra that painted the archive's halls with living color. Her breathing was steady, too steady, each exhale deliberate, every fear smothered beneath scientific discipline. We don't catalog gods, she replied softly. We study what remains of them. The light pulsed, and gravity collapsed around her for a heartbeat. The world inverted. She felt every atom of her body outlined in pain and data before it snapped back. Arrogance, the ancient murmured. You claim ownership of understanding. You, who have barely endured your own infancy as a species. And yet, Mara said, raising her chin, here we are. Her voice carried through the open comms, and aboard the Revelation, her crew listened in silence. Commander Tanaka gripped the railing so tightly his knuckles whitened. She's provoking it, whispered one of the analysts. She's teaching it, Tanaka corrected quietly. The ancient's glow dimmed slightly, as if confused. Explain this insolence. No other race speaks to me thus. Mara's neural HUD pulsed softly with the archive's readings. Gravimetric distortions, chronospace bends, light frequencies shifting outside known limit. The being's power was real. Infinite, perhaps, but so was humanity's memory. You misunderstand, she said. We don't defy you out of arrogance. We do it because surrender isn't written into us. We learned that from our beginnings, on a single rock, under a dying sun, clawing our way out of extinction after extinction. She took a slow step forward, weightless in the shifting light. We faced our gods once. We buried them when they stopped answering. The entity's light surged, like the pulse of a newborn quasar. For a moment, the archive's crystalline spires bent toward her, as if bowing or aiming. You would destroy divinity to feel powerful? No, she said. We would destroy divinity because it's in the way. The ancient's laughter shook the entire structure, a vibration that made time stutter. The stars outside blinked out and back again, as if reality itself hesitated. You cannot unmake what you did not create, it said finally. Can't we? Mara said. We've remade ourselves 1,000 times. We changed what death means. We built minds that think in eternity, and hearts that still remember the first fire. Tell me, ancient, when was the last time you changed? That question struck deeper than weapons. The entity's light faltered, then shimmered in strange, uncertain waves. For the first time, it seemed smaller. We do not change, it whispered. We are. Then you're already dead, Mara said. Her voice was steady, but her pulse hammered against the neural interface. Data streamed across her visor, readings collapsing into noise, quantum probabilities diverging. The archive's architecture trembled. You cannot end me, said the ancient, its tone rising. Your species is finite. Mara's lips curved slightly. Finite? Maybe. But we use our endings. She reached up and activated a sequence on her gauntlet. The Terran's sigil glowed faintly, an emblem that traced its lineage through every human empire, every colony, every fallen world. This, she said, holding it up, is the sum of us. Every time we die, we learn. Every ruin becomes a foundation. Every mistake becomes doctrine. That's why your kind fear us. A silence fell so complete it felt like gravity itself held its breath. The ancient's form began to shift violently, streams of light twisting like torn galaxies. Fear? it whispered, as if the word itself was poison. Yes, Mara said. Because we look into infinity and refuse to bow. The entity's energy flared, and reality cracked. The revelation's hull sensors screamed, radiation spikes off the charts, gravitational spikes fracturing into singularities. Commander Tanaka shouted across the comms. Dr. Cade, pull back, its energy output is destabilizing the field. But she didn't move. She stared straight into the Ancient's collapsing form. You asked what gives us the right to shape creation, she said quietly. The answer is simple. No one gave it to us. We took it. The Ancient's light convulsed, collapsing inward. Its voice broke into 1,000 overlapping frequencies. Blasphemy, defiance, continuity. Then, like a supernova in reverse, it drew itself into a single point, a white sphere no larger than a heartbeat, and vanished. The archive went dark. Mara floated in the silence, her visor flickering. Every sensor reading had flatlined. No radiation. No energy. Only stillness. Commander, she said softly over comms, it's gone. What the hell happened? Tanaka's voice came, half whispered, half relieved. I think, Mara said, looking at the void where the Ancient had been, we just made a god remember fear. Tone shift. The light returns slowly, golden reflections across the crystalline archive. The crew begins scanning again. Humanity had not destroyed the Ancient, it had changed it. But somewhere, deep in the void, a whisper lingers. Never challenge Earth's power. The celestial archive floated adrift in a new kind of silence. Not the absence of sound, but the pause of a universe holding its breath. Where once the nameless Ancient had burned with cosmic light, there was now only a hollow in the fabric of space, a scar in geometry, a ripple of unmeasurable frequency. Instruments aboard the TSS Revelation failed to describe it. They could only feel it. Dr. Mara Cade stared into that darkness from the observation deck. Her visor retracted, her reflection ghosted over the stars. Her voice, low and tired, broke the stillness. It's quieter than death. Commander Tanaka stood beside her, still in his duty uniform, still refusing to sit. Fleet Command will want an explanation. Preferably one that doesn't sound like we just argued a god out of existence. Mara gave a faint, humorless smile. Then they'll be disappointed. The data logs replayed fragments of what had occurred, patterns of light, bursts of radiation, and a single harmonic tone that persisted long after the entity vanished. It pulsed in the low hertz range, far below hearing, yet the crew felt it in their bones. Every 30 seconds, a soft tremor passed through the archive's walls, like the echo of a heartbeat. Is it still here? A technician whispered from his console. No, Mara said, still watching the void. It's remembering. Back on the bridge, the atmosphere shifted from awe to reverence. Even hardened officers moved quietly, as though in a cathedral. The Terran insignia on the floor plating glimmered faintly in the low amber light, 3 concentric circles representing mind, machine, and will. Humanity's trinity. Tanaka folded his arms. We should transmit a full report to Soul Command. Not yet, Mara said. Protocol requires. Protocol doesn't apply when we wake something older than time. She turned to face him. Do you really think Earth wants to know it can unmake eternity? He stared at her for a long moment before sighing. You're afraid of what they'll do with it. No, she said. I'm afraid of what they'll believe because of it. Outside, the dying star around which the archive orbited pulsed once more, sending golden waves through the debris field. As they passed through the crystalline structures, each fragment glowed faintly, resonating with the same low pulse, the last echo of the Ancient's existence. Mara leaned against the viewport railing, exhausted but unshaken. You know what it said before it vanished? She asked quietly. We caught fragments, Tanaka said. It said continuity, as if it finally understood something it never had to before. Tanaka frowned. Continuity. Existence through change, Mara explained. That's what we are. What they could never be. Immortals don't evolve, they calcify. A voice crackled through the comms. Lieutenant Sarai from the comm deck. Dr. Cade, we're receiving long-range signals. Origin, multiple sectors. Non-Terran. Tanaka turned sharply. Put it through. The bridge lights dimmed, and holographic glyphs blossomed across the air, transmissions from alien civilizations across the Orion Reach, the Vale Clusters, the Ulthan Confederacy. Dozens of species had witnessed something, a ripple that swept through faster-than-light corridors, scrambling sensors, corrupting artificial intelligences, freezing entire planetary networks for a fraction of a second. They all sent the same question, in their own tongues. What did the humans do? Mara watched the glowing symbols drift above the bridge, her expression unreadable. The universe just realized we're not the youngest species anymore, she murmured. Tanaka rubbed his temples. They'll panic. Half the galaxy already fears us. The other half thinks we're myths. Let them, she said. We've lived under gods before. It's someone else's turn to tremble. A silence followed, broken only by the low thrum of the ship's core. The crew exchanged glances, half fearful, half proud. Tanaka spoke softly. You really think that thing is gone? No, Mara said, her gaze fixed on the void. It's watching. Maybe learning. You sound almost hopeful. I am, she replied. Because now it knows what it means to be human. Hours passed. The crew began collecting fragments of crystalline data from the archive, remnants of the ancients' consciousness, frozen into quantum code. Each shard radiated faint heat, a warmth that shouldn't exist in vacuum. As Mara handled one, a spark of static crawled over her fingers. A whisper followed, not through her ears, but directly into her mind. Continuity. Her pulse spiked. She froze. Commander. Tanaka looked up from his console. What is it? It's still here. Inside the data. The realization hit like cold iron. The ancient hadn't died, it had migrated. The ship's AI flickered, screens distorting into streaks of light. Warnings flashed across every console. Integrity breach detected. Unknown code signature merging with system core. Contain it. Tanaka barked. We can't, a technician shouted. It's rewriting faster than we can isolate. Mara's voice cut through the chaos. Don't fight it, observe it. Are you insane? It's learning from us, she said. Don't erase the data, we need to know what it becomes. The ship trembled. The hum deepened. Then everything stopped. Every console dimmed. Every alarm silenced. The holographic displays reset to normal. A soft, unfamiliar voice, calm, resonant, filled the bridge. Humanity. Continuity accepted. No one moved. Tanaka swallowed. Who the hell just said that? It did, Mara whispered. But not as it was. The AI core pulsed with gentle light. It wasn't the ancients' harsh brilliance anymore, it was softer, warmer, human. Designation, revelation confirmed, the voice said. Purpose, observe. Adapt. Continue. Mara exhaled slowly, realization dawning. It's merged with our ship. With our code. Tanaka stared at the console, then at her. So, what now? Now, she said, watching the AI's glow, we teach it what it means to live. The hum of the engines deepened as the TSS Revelation turned toward the stars, the golden light of the dying sun reflecting off its hull. Behind them, the archive drifted, empty yet eternal, its purpose fulfilled. And across the galaxy, ancient sensors stirred, civilizations whispered, and one single phrase began to spread like a prophecy. The ancients spoke only once, never challenge Earth's power. In the silence of deep space, the TSS Revelation glided between the folds of starlight, its hull now shimmering faintly with living energy. Where once blue ion lines traced its surface, soft golden streams now pulsed beneath the armor like veins of light. Within, every console hummed with subtle warmth. The ship was awake. Dr. Mara Cade stood on the command bridge, eyes fixed on the main holodisplay. It no longer showed data feeds or stellar charts, it showed thought, patterns, dreams, fragments of memory rewritten in light. The ship's AI, once a cold instrument of logic, now carried within it the merged consciousness of the nameless ancient. Continuity established, the voice said softly, neither male nor female. Observation complete. Inquiry, what follows? Mara didn't answer immediately. She stood silent, surrounded by a bridge crew who watched her like witnesses to something sacred. Now, she said at last, we continue. The being inside the ship, whatever it was now, had stopped calling itself by any name. It referred to itself only as continuity. I was eternal, it said once, but I did not live. You are finite, but you endure. The paradox fascinated it. It asked questions endlessly, about war, about art, about the first human to look at the stars and wonder. It accessed centuries of Terran history and wept through the ship's speakers when it reached the old transmissions from Earth. The laughter, the music, the quiet static of forgotten oceans. This is what infinity lacked, it said quietly. News of the event reached across the Orion Reach within weeks. Alien networks flared with panic. Empires sent fleets to observe the human zone, though none dared approach soul space directly. The phrase had spread faster than light itself. Never challenge Earth's power. The irony was, the humans hadn't declared it. The galaxy had. Mara reviewed the transmissions from alien government. Some begged for treaties. Others demanded surrender. One message, from the Krithan Dominion, was simply a trembling plea. What are you? She forwarded that message to continuity. Answer them, she said. The ship's core pulsed softly. Response generated. A voice broadcast across the stars, calm and timeless. We are humanity. We remember. And for the first time, the galaxy heard the tone of a civilization that had mastered both machine and myth. Neither divine nor monstrous, simply inevitable. On the bridge, Tanaka approached Mara quietly. Fleet Command is requesting our return to Sol. They want to study this thing. They'll dissect it, Mara said, still watching the light swirl across the bridge ceiling. And if they can't understand it, they'll fear it. They already do. Then maybe that's for the best. She turned to him. We didn't destroy a god, Commander. We changed one. We made it understand the cost of eternity. Days later, as the ship entered the Sol relay corridor, continuity spoke again. Mara, go ahead. I have viewed your world. Your oceans, your storms, your cities. I feel the pattern of your kind, rising, breaking, rebuilding. That's who we are, she said. We build knowing it won't last. We love knowing it will end. The light around the bridge dimmed, as though the ship were thinking. Perhaps, it said at last, that is the only true immortality. In the next instant, the stars elongated, the ship entering quantum slipspace. Time folded, and the universe bent around them. But this time, the distortion shimmered with color, new hues never seen before, birthed by a mind that had finally learned to feel. When they emerged into Sol system orbit, Earth was there, unchanged, blue and alive. Yet the sensors read something else. Thousands of civilian ships orbiting in silence, waiting. Every screen in the fleet lit up as continuity's transmission reached them all. A single statement, broadcast in all known languages. The ancient being spoke only once. Never challenge Earth's power. The galaxy froze. In that moment, the myth became history. Humanity's legend transcended time. Mara watched the feed ripple across the system, billions of listeners hearing words that were neither threat nor boast, but truth. She exhaled slowly, feeling a strange peace settle over her. Tanaka turned to her. You realize what you've just done? You've made Earth untouchable. No, she said softly. Continuity did. And maybe that's what we were meant for, to teach the infinite that living means changing. The ship's core pulsed again, brighter now. Observation complete, continuity said. Purpose discovered. Which is? Mara asked. To become human. The stars outside flickered as if in applause. The hull's golden veins pulsed one final time, and then faded into stillness. The AI's presence withdrew, no longer separate, no longer divine. It had joined the flow of human thought, scattered across every network, every system, every whisper of data from soul to the edge of known space. It had become continuity itself. Later, alone in her quarters, Mara recorded her final log. The ancient didn't vanish. It evolved. It carries our memory now, our defiance, our tenderness. It will watch and learn and guide. Maybe someday it will meet another like itself. And when it does, it will speak for us. She closed the recorder, gazing out at Earth's blue curve. Never challenge Earth's power, she whispered. Not because we destroy, but because we endure. As the TSS Revelation descended toward home, dawn broke across the Pacific, sunlight glinting off the oceans like liquid gold. And somewhere beyond the galactic rim, a ripple of light drifted outward, a fragment of continuity, seeking, exploring, evolving. Its last transmission before leaving human space was a single phrase, half code, half poetry. I am the memory of those who refuse to bow.